What's up, everybody? Checking out this book, Happiness Hypothesis by Dr. Jonathan Haidt. Wanted to kind of present in this video this specific section. It's titled Freedom Can Be Hazardous to Your Health, talking about the social bonds and constraints that we have. Rules and regulations are actually there to support us. They're good for us, and they give us a meaning to our lives. Interesting study done in the late 19th century gathered data from across Europe to study the factors that affect the suicide rate, and the findings can be summarized in one word: constraints. No matter how the data was parsed, people who had fewer social constraints, bonds, and obligations were more likely to kill themselves. And it said he found that Protestants, who at the time lived the least demanding religious lives, had higher suicide rates than did Catholics and Jews, whose had a dense network of social and religious obligations, and they had the lowest levels of suicide. Again, this was the late 19th century. The degree of integration of a domestic society, the family, had the same thing. So people that were living alone were most likely to kill themselves. Married people were less likely, and married people with children were even less likely. The conclusion was that people need obligations and constraints to provide structure and meaning to their lives. The more weakened groups to which a man belongs, the less he depends on them, the more he consequently depends only on himself and recognizes no other rules of conduct than what are founded on his private interests. Having strong social relationships strengthens the immune system, extends life, and speeds recovery from surgery, reduces the risks of depression and anxiety disorders. And it's not just that extroverts are naturally happier and healthier, but when introverts are forced to be more outgoing, they usually enjoy it and find that it boosts their mood. Wow. It's almost like we were designed to be social. I'm finding this more and more the more books I read. A lot of connecting ideas, a lot of common ground here. Let's see. So he says, Seneca was right. No one can live happily who has regard to himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility. John Donne was right. No man, woman, or child is an island. Aristophanes was right. We need others to complete us. We are an ultra-social species full of emotions, finely tuned for loving, befriending, helping, sharing, and otherwise intertwining our lives with others. Attachments and relationships can bring us pain. As a character in Jean-Paul Sartre's play, and a character in a play says, "Hell is other people, but also is heaven." So, just wanted to make a short video on that. Social constraints, rules, regulations give us meaning for our lives, as does having strong social bonds and relationships.